Welcome to the Cameo Renee Podcast. This is a place for those who refuse to sit back and wait for life to unfold. If you're ready to break free from the slow lane and seize every opportunity, you're in the right place. We're all about taking action, making shit happen, and creating the life you desire. Join me as we dive into powerful conversations and strategies that will help you grow your mindset and chase your dreams. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here today. Didn't think I was going to make it, but we're here showing up for you guys no matter what. And today I have such a special guest, Dr. Rhonda Jafaar.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I am so happy we got to meet, and a little bit of backstory about how we met was we have a mutual friend, and she was in my salon getting her hair done, and I was talking to her about Botox and fillers and stuff like that, and I was like, where do you go? Like I've seen her like change, like her face, like you could tell that she was going to somebody different, and it was just so natural at this point. And I said, who do you go to? It looks amazing. And she said, oh, you have to go to her. Her name is Rhonda, Dr. Jafaar. And I was like, okay, like, how do I give me her number? How do I get in touch with her? And she said, let's do a party. Ashley is, if you know Ashley, she is like, she'll create a party for anything. So she's like, let's do a party and we can tell Rhonda to come. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Yeah, for sure. I love parties. So that's what we did. We set up a Botox party and bubbles at my salon, and I didn't know what to expect when you came in. And honestly, the energy was so amazing.
Aww.
Like your energy is good, like when you just meet someone and you feel like you're comfortable around them, and you just start talking and conversating. Like I felt like that was like the energy that I had when I met you, and I appreciate that with anybody that has that type of energy. Thank especially you. Another woman being surrounded with other women, right? So yeah, we had a great time. I was so impressed with how you, quickly and efficiently, did everyone's faces. And yeah, it was really cool. And obviously everyone had a good time. And now we have our second one coming up in December. I'm super excited about that.
Me too.
So yeah, thank you for coming on and showing up today. Tell us a little bit about you and where you came from, what you do now.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it was really nice meeting you too. I love meeting new people. That's one of my favorite things. I feel like when I meet new people, when I network, that's when I grow. So a little bit about me. I'm an anesthesiologist and a pain specialist, and I also do cosmetics. So that confuses a lot of people. Like, Rhonda, are you still a pain doctor? Do you still do pain management? Do you still do anesthesia? So I do it all. Mm-hmm. I have two separate practices. I have my pain management practice, and then I have my cosmetic
studio.
I
didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And, I started as an anesthesiologist, which being an anesthesiologist is harder than being a pain doctor and harder than doing cosmetics. But the perception from the public is, wait, what are you? Like, why are you this and then this? And some people said, oh, you pivoted. And, I guess I didn't really look at myself as pivoting. I looked at myself as having two separate businesses. Mm. And I looked at myself as growing. And, I really didn't want to let either go. So I love what I do. I love being a pain doctor. I love being an anesthesiologist. I love doing the cosmetics. I love running the business. Seeing patients is my favorite thing to do. Actually treating patients is my favorite thing to do. I still kind of do it all. I still kind of balance it all. And, Yeah.
How long did it take for you to be able to balance that? Is it still kind of like
I'm still not balancing. I'm still trying to strike a balance.
I tell people there's no such thing. There's no such thing as balance. You just whatever is at hand, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. I try my best, but even like I wake up, the phone is ringing, the texts, the emails, my staff, my biller, my, everything, because I'm still doing a lot of it. Like this morning, I was doing the pain injections at the surgery center. So I still do epidurals, facets, although those are like very standard pain management injections. But my PA is working at Field Studio doing the cosmetic injections. So they call me with questions, and tomorrow I'll have 3 offices running. So
Wow.
I'll have Tuesdays is always my day where the phone is nonstop. So the balance has become, what I do now is I really try to ignore the phone
Mm-hmm.
and focus on what's directly in front of me.
Okay.
Because whatever is on the phone, I feel I can get to later. So, and then that's, I feel like what makes me happy. Like I was at the surgery center and the phone was nonstop. I had 2 patients. I just put the phone down. My contractor was calling me because he's at my apartment. Where do you want the shelf? Where do you want the sink?
It's like, I got business to do.
I'm like, talk to my designer.
Yeah.
And I want to talk. I just wanted to talk to my 2 patients that were there, even though I could have just done the procedure. But so that's what I do now. I try to ignore the phone.
Yeah.
The email, the text, the calls. I mean, they are important sometimes, but.
Of course, but the person, your patients.
Yeah. Something's got to give.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be on the phone all the time and paying attention to my patient.
Yeah.
And that's like where I'm happy. Like right now I'm with you. I want to focus on you. I want to talk to you. And then I'll deal with the phone calls and the emails and all that later.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it takes a lot sometimes to be able to say no to certain things. So good for you. That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your background when you were like a child. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I'm happy to share. It's, the recent war and everything. I was just telling my mom, I finally understood my childhood, like watching this war from afar. I just understood my childhood. I'm a fully grown adult. I never understood it before, which is wild to me.
Yeah.
But I was born in Beirut. I'm Lebanese. I didn't even speak English when I came to this country. And, Lebanese people have a lot of Lebanese, they have a lot, they want to be Lebanese. Like our culture is very unique. Our community is very unique. Our food, our language, the way we interact with people, like we're known as a fun-loving society. Like they make fun of Lebanese. Like there's all these memes now, like, yeah, there's a war, but these people are still having a party, and these people are still having a barbecue,
It's a vibe.
It's a very different life, and it's very centered on community and inviting people to your house. So like, that's how I grew up. I was born there. My dad was an only child. He never wanted to leave Lebanon. He was a politician and he never wanted to leave. And my mom never wanted to leave either. But because of the war, they would go back and forth, back and forth. And they also say there's more Lebanese people outside of Lebanon than inside of Lebanon. It's almost like you have to leave to grab opportunity. So my parents were back and forth a lot, and none of us wanted to leave. But then when I was 8 years old, the war was so bad. They would send us to school and a bomb would go off.
Wow.
And we would it was back before anybody had a cell phone, anything. I still remember we waited at a checkpoint with a soldier for our parents. Our parents went to the school to get us. They didn't find us and they thought we were gone.
Oh my God.
They thought that's it. Because we didn't know what to do either. And we didn't know what to do. So we just waited with a soldier at a checkpoint. And when they found us, oh my God, I still remember my mom was like, that's it. Never again. I'm leaving. I will never stay here again. And we left.
Wow. Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I loved school. We couldn't go to school. Some days we could go to school. Some days we couldn't go to school. And I loved school. And I remember when we moved here, it was sad. It was hard. I didn't speak English. My mom didn't speak English. She'd be like, you and your brother were the only people I could talk to because you were the only 2 people that spoke Arabic. So we went from having our whole family, our whole everything to being
Yeah.
alone in Michigan. It was hard.
Wow.
But the one thing was I loved school. I still remember thinking, wow, we go to school every day here.
Yeah.
And I still remember the first day of school, my teacher gave me a box of crayons and there was a Christmas tree. And I was like, this is so fun. I still remember some of my friends would be like, oh, just tell your mom you're sick. You won't have to come to school tomorrow. And I didn't understand them.
You're like, why not? This is great.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, you don't want to come
here?
to school? Aren't you bored when you're at home?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. You don't know, like, you're living this privileged life. You have no idea.
Right. I couldn't
That's
believe
so
it.
crazy.
I couldn't. And I still remember at the end of the year, they gave everybody some award. And my award was the only student to not miss one day of school.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And then my mom said, there's an award for that?
Like, shouldn't that already be? Oh my gosh, that is so, I love that so much. It's just the innocence when you're a child, like not knowing. And I mean, that must have been so tough for you though, even though you loved school.
It was hard. It was almost like school was my, like what healed me. Like what, it's like, it's almost like what healed me because it was very sad.
Yeah.
And there was one girl in the class that spoke Arabic, so that was my best friend.
Oh my gosh. There was someone.
Yeah.
Did you actually like her?
Yeah, I did.
That's
Yeah,
good.
we were friends for a long time. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, imagine. Oh my gosh, you didn't like her, but she was the only one.
Right. Like, well, I have to like her.
Oh my goodness.
So that was my childhood pretty much, and now looking at the war from here, and I still have a lot of family there, it's like, wow, like I know what they're going through. I know what a bad position they're in. Because it's either stay and you might die and have no opportunities, or leave your whole life, leave your land, leave your family, leave your culture, leave your language. Kind of like we left our souls behind.
Yeah, like a piece of you.
Yeah.
Wow. What made you want to be a doctor?
Because I loved school.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's the longest?
Oh my gosh. So that was kind of like such a hard and difficult time in your life, but like pivotal.
Yeah.
Like it made you love school so much. You just said, I mean, I think we spoke about it yesterday. You said 14 years in college.
And I'm still learning.
I love that.
And I still remember I would ask my parents to put me in summer school because I was so bored. I was so bored.
I mean, that's precious. That's so precious. I went to summer school not by choice.
Yeah, I was like, can you put me in summer school? They're like, there isn't any. I'm like, oh, I'm just bored,
Just I want to learn. Oh wow. Do you read a lot of books?
I don't read as much as I used to with like the internet. Like I grew up without the internet actually. Did you? I don't know if you did.
Yeah. Well, when I was a teenager, the dial-up came out. So it was like I still had, I feel like at a good time, I still had the internet like when I was younger.
I kind of grew up without the internet, so I used to read a lot more back then. Now I'm like reading articles. I still read a book here and there, but it's usually never fiction. Just something that will teach me. Like the last book I read was Ray Dalio, Principles. And it's really the Bible of business. Whenever I'm going through something and wondering, what should I do? How should I do this? How should I do that? I really go back to what he wrote, and it helps me. It makes me feel better.
That's awesome. That's like Rachel Hollis for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody, especially entrepreneurs, everybody finds someone in their industry or should find somebody in their industry who has already accomplished what they want to accomplish so they can, like you said, go back, they've already been through this. What did they do in that situation? Instead of, there's always going to be trial and error. We never fail. We just learn. But you don't have to learn so many things firsthand if you're taking on a coach or taking on somebody who's already been there and a mentor. So yeah, I do the same thing. I could totally appreciate that. And not having enough time, not enough time because we, we do what we prioritize, but maybe wishing there was a little bit more for reading and some luxury experiences like that. So, thank you for sharing that. That was such a cool concept and story to, like, you know, being in an area where bombs are going off, to coming here, like you said yesterday, the land of opportunity and that hope, and just seeing, your parents. What did your parents do when they got here? Like, what did they?
It was hard on them too, and it's funny now that I look back at my parents, I'm like, wow, they were very strong people because, like, yeah, we left our country, but we were kids. Our parents were doing everything for us. Like it didn't, I wasn't supporting myself. I wasn't, they left their parents and they were actually still supporting their parents in Lebanon.
Wow.
So they had to support their kids and they would send money to their parents, and also watching their families struggle. And, it's almost like survivor's guilt. It's like you survived. I still remember they tried to bring their family, but like they would come and they just weren't happy. They like, I still remember my grandma just saying, like, I'm depressed. Like, I'm not happy, here. So my parents were very hard workers, very hard workers. I mean, my younger sister and brother were twins. I basically raised them. I was 8 years old because they were working nonstop. They were just very hard workers, very, they're immigrants. They wanted to have nothing to do with any drama.
What did they think about you going to school to become a doctor?
Oh, yeah.
Were they like just like over the moon?
Oh, my dad was my biggest encourager.
That's awesome.
My dad was a lawyer, and I'm like, oh, I want to be a lawyer. Like, he's like, no, you're not going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a doctor. And I still remember being like, oh, women can be doctors. 'Cause back then, I never saw any female doctors. I'm sure there was. And he's like, yeah, women can be doctors. And I'm like, really? And some of my friends would say, don't be a doctor. No man will ever want you.
Wow.
No man wants a girl that's that like smart and that goes to work and touches other men.
Wow.
Yeah, I still remember that.
I don't even think I would have thought of that.
Yeah.
But that's so interesting.
He was super ahead of his time. I would say in my community, it was rare for a girl to reach out that much education. Some of my friends, they weren't allowed to get higher education.
Wow.
They would teach them, be lower, be something lower, like don't, so that men want you, so that you feel, you make a man feel.
How did you get, like, how did you get, was it the support of your father that kind of, you just like pushed past that, or?
I really respected him a lot. And my dad was like, I think my grandparents didn't read or write. Like my dad went to law school. He was the only person in his family to get higher education. So I just had a lot of respect for him.
And so he was able to push you, and like, so was he the first person in his family to get the higher education, you said? Okay, so, and then he pushed you. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, he really pushed me a lot. And I respected him, and I wanted to make him happy. Like, I know they say, oh, don't become a doctor because your parents want you to become a doctor. It was like, no, I enjoy school. I enjoy, taking care of people. I enjoy making people happy. But then I wanted to make him happy.
Did you experience any pushback in school from other women or men? Like,
yeah.
Really?
I still experience it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like when? Like give me an example.
From the beginning, like when I was younger, my other girlfriends would be like, no guy will ever want you. Like, I can't believe you're doing this. So like even when I was a kid. And then, but honestly, when I went to apply for medical school, I felt like I had an advantage because they wanted the class to be 50-50 female. And that's when I really fell in love with this country and really felt it was the land of opportunity. Because I don't think in Lebanon they would do that. The class would probably be 90% male, 2 women.
Yeah.
And really, like, that made me feel like, wow, this is really, like, I'm an immigrant. I'm not an American. I'm a female, and I'm being given the advantage here.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't feel it as much. But then even when I was in medical school and then I would go to certain rotations, they'd be like, no, they don't want females in this field. When I went to...
Was it the clients that said that, or
some of the professors?
That's crazy.
Which is shocking. Even when I interviewed for my anesthesia residency at Wayne State, I still remember the guy that interviewed me was like, no, you'll never be an anesthesiologist. I was like, wow.
What?
You know, and then when I graduated and I worked for someone and he'd tell me, you're not good enough. You're not good enough to have your own practice. Like, you don't have what it takes. So it's really crazy, like, along the way.
Were you like did that drive you though? Were you like, fuck you, I'm gonna show you?
See, that drives me more. You're right.
Yeah.
When people like, and Oprah said this, I loved when she said, I like when people underestimate me.
Mm-hmm.
She said that. She's like, because when people underestimate me, it pushes me more. And it's almost like I have something to prove.
Yeah. Puts that fire under you and it's like, gonna show you.
Yeah. Yeah. But I would say it's a mixture of, you know, feeling like maybe I got a few more opportunities because I was female, but then people trying to keep me down. But also all those studies came out that showed if you have a female doctor, you live longer.
Okay. Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? I'm just saying.
Harvard did the study and everyone's like, no, this is fake. I'm like, no, Harvard did the study. Stanford ended up doing the study. They did even follow-up studies that showed if we had more female doctors, we would have 30,000 less deaths per
Ladies,
month.
let's get to it, okay? How long was medical school?
It was long.
It was... No, don't tell them it was that long.
Start counting.
It was fine. It was fine. Just
4
ladies,
years.
There you go.
Yeah. And a lot of people tell me that. They're like, no, it's too long. I don't want to do it. I'm like, but what else are you doing?
Wow. Yes.
What are you doing that you can't?
Like, if this is what you want to do, I feel like there's always a block. Like, I just did some coaching this morning with somebody and we got to a goal of hers that she had never even thought of, it's so cool to be able to do that for someone where sometimes our, like what we were saying before we started recording, like our proximity, the people around us and the things that we see limit our thoughts and what we think is possible. And when you start surrounding yourself with people who have done more than you or done more than what you're used to seeing, all of a sudden, like, the world opens and your world expands. And it was really cool this morning to see her go from like this smaller goal that she thought was the ultimate goal to, realizing, oh, I can do this. You can do anything. And, that's my rant for this time. But
No,
I feel
true.
like it's
very true.
It's, you can do anything.
Very true.
And the only thing that is preventing you is you. And if 14 years is what you got to do to get to your dream, what else are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all have limited time. 100% of us, time is everyone's most valuable asset.
100%.
So really, you do have to spend every minute, on something you enjoy and that's why for me, it didn't feel long because I enjoyed it. I was learning, still learning.
Always.
Still learning. Yeah. And, I like to be challenged as well. So
that's so cool. It's really refreshing to be around like other women and people who feel the same way. And for all of you, I encourage you guys to also find people who just you resonate with, like, do you have a circle? Do you have like
Yes.
a circle of people who inspire you and you make sure you keep those type of people around you?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, some of my biggest motivators were other females that did what I wanted to do, like you said, because for the pain doctors, it's mainly men, my field.
Mm-hmm.
But then I met some females that were just blowing it out the water,
Yes.
you know. So that's who I like to associate with, like other people that are, you know, just growing and working for themselves. And
So what made you get into, because you went to school for the pain management anesthesiologist, which is incredible. Now you are also doing injections, like Botox and fillers. So when did that happen?
there's a lot of overlap.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot of people don't know is, you know, people hear the word Botox and it's synonymous now with plastic surgery and cosmetics. But the original use of Botox was always medical. It was never
Ah.
cosmetic. Yeah. It's just like Ozempic.
Mm-hmm.
People hear about it now because they hear about the cosmetic in Hollywood. And even me as a doctor, the first time I heard about Ozempic was because someone said Kyle Richards lost weight on Ozempic. I hadn't even heard of it before. So those are the cosmetic treatments. They start as therapeutic. So Botox is it's botulinum toxin. It's a toxin. The original use was for cross-eyedness. So when you're cross-eyed, you have two muscles, your eyeballs in the middle, and you have two muscles. When one of them is overactive, you become cross-eyed. So what they used to do, they would take the Botox, this paralyzes the muscle. They'd inject it in there. They'd paralyze the muscle, and it would fix your cross-eyedness.
What?
Yeah. That was the original use, and is used for bladder, used for colon, it was never cosmetics.
Hmm.
So then it got, you know, there was all these discoveries, like it treats migraine, it treats something called spasmodic torticollis, it treats hyperhidrosis, which is excessive sweating, and those were really the main uses, and that's what I used to use it for. I used to use it in my pain practice.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, like spasmodic torticollis is basically you can't move your neck, and it's a painful condition. Those are painful conditions. Migraine, spasmodic torticollis. You can use it for upper limb spasticity. If you're, you know, some people have conditions where their limb is contracted like this,
Like
permanently.
what?
Their
Oh
leg
my
is
gosh.
contracted, so you inject it,
And it relaxes it.
and those
Oh,
are
shit.
painful conditions. That's why sometimes people are like, why is a pain doctor doing cosmetics? But being a pain doctor is actually harder.
Yeah.
But they just don't perceive it that way.
Wow.
Yeah, like
I didn't know how much it overlaps. That's wow.
Mhm. And so I was doing it for that, and then people would ask me for cosmetics, PRP and, you know, filler, and I can't tell you how easy those are. If you're an anesthesiologist, like those are very much easy. They're just easier to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, why not? And I was honestly sick of insurances. I can't
Says
tell
all
you
doctors.
how
I
much
feel like it's like such a pain in the ass.
they choke us. They turn our patients against us.
Mhm.
Everybody thinks their insurance is their best friend and their doctor's keeping things from them. Everybody. Because the minute I tell a patient it's not covered, we couldn't get it. Oh, but I called my insurance and they told me it is. Or if we tell a patient you have to pay your deductible. Oh, but I called my insurance and they said blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, it's like you think your insurance is your best friend. Insurances are companies.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to pay your premium and not go to the doctor. And that's
Mhm.
how they profit. You know, they're not, Medicaid and Medicare is different. Those are government funded. But, you know, insurance companies want you to cancel all your doctor's appointments. That's what they want. We want you to come every day,
Yeah.
you know? So it's such a battle that when I wasn't busy, I would do a lot of things for free. And it didn't bother me. And then when I got busy and I felt like I didn't have enough time for myself,
Mm.
for the things that I wanted to do, for the things that I wanted to spend time on, and I would get very irritated because you basically get forced to work for free. You get forced to do a lot of visits for free. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore because I really look at me being your doctor as giving you a gift.
Of course.
Like I used to look at it as a job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to work. I'm whatever. But then I felt like I'm really like, well, I'm giving this person, I'm increasing people's lifespan. I go above and beyond for my patients. I impose on things that other doctors don't impose on, just to benefit them.
Like what?
Like, okay, I'll give you a good example. The weight loss drugs are still fairly new,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of doctors still don't know how to use them. And patients would come to me, and I'm a pain doctor, right? I'm a pain doctor, and I'm a cosmetic injector. They'd be on they'd have diabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and they would just be giving themselves insulin. If you give them the Mounjaro, Ozempic, you're actually improving their hypertension, improving their high cholesterol. You're actually curing their diabetes. You're helping them lose weight, which is going to give them less stress on their joints. And their doctors just didn't give it to them yet.
Mm.
And I'm not their treating diabetes doctor.
Right.
But I don't care. I'm like, no, I'm putting you on this. You're taking this. Even some of my parents' friends, or one of my dad's friends was like, yeah, I was taking metformin. So with diabetes, if you gain a significant amount of weight, first you take oral medication. Most people don't do well with the oral. They progress to insulin injections.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, I'm taking the oral medication, but I still have the diabetes. And I think I'm going to start taking insulin. I was like, what? I can prevent you from progressing to insulin. He's just my dad's friend,
Mm-hmm.
I can cure your hypertension. I can cure your kidney disease. Dialysis is down 20%.
Wow.
It's curing I went to my friends in New Jersey for a barbecue, and one of the girls there was like, my husband has fatty liver. She was like confiding in me. They're not even my patients.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, his doctor hasn't put him on like Mounjaro? Or she's like, no. We go every month. The doctor tells him, yeah, you're fatty liver. And I was like, he needs to take it, please. And she called me the next month. She's like, yeah, you were right. Like his fatty liver is improved. Like,
Wow.
basically increasing people's lifespan.
I wonder why they are not, maybe not ignoring it, but just not using it as an option.
Knowledge.
Mm.
They haven't gotten to that piece of knowledge yet. It's impossible for us as doctors to have every piece of knowledge.
Yeah.
That's why we go to conferences. That's why we keep up. That's why, so what I'm saying is I impose if I really feel like I can help.
Yeah.
Some people, this dentist that I know, she's like, yeah, I'm signed up for a 2-level neck surgery. Neck surgery is not always a good idea.
Yeah.
And
Sounds intense.
Yeah. I'm like, are you sure you need this neck surgery? And she's like, yeah, the doctor said I need it, so I'm going to go for it. I was like, please go for a second opinion with my friend, this neurosurgeon that I know, that I love. I think he's the best neurosurgeon I've ever met. And he told her she didn't need it.
Wow.
I just increased this girl's lifespan. And I'm not trying to sound like...
No, but it's true.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but it also takes me back to that study. If you have a female doctor, studies show if you have a female doctor, you live longer.
It makes sense now. I feel like maybe because they care more, we're more emotional, we have more of that feminine energy to give to patients that maybe a male just isn't capable or can't provide to his patients because he's focused on, like, how do I solve this problem? It's I mean, proven.
Yeah.
This is a male's like physiology. Males think like they need to solve problem. And now we have, more female doctors, and hopefully it continues to grow, where you have that, same knowledge, but now you have something that a male can't give to you, which is that empathy and caring, spending more time trying to figure it out instead of just solving and putting that Band-Aid on it and saying, next.
Yeah. Women are more logical too, is what the study showed.
Okay.
So I really look at myself when I'm giving you my time, when I'm focusing on you. Like, I no longer look at it as a job. I look at it as I'm giving you a gift. So if I don't feel appreciated by you, and if I'm being mistreated and choked by your insurance, then I don't want to deal with it. Like, I'm sorry. You know, like I want to feel appreciated too. I want to feel like what I'm doing is being rewarded and I'm growing. Like it's impossible to grow your practice. It's very hard to grow your practice taking insurance, to be honest.
Wow.
The more you grow, the more they audit you, the more they cut your fees. From a business perspective, you're a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Every year there's like 4% inflation or whatever, right?
Yep.
You increase your prices a little bit.
Yep.
You can't do that with insurance. They cut you every year and the cost of everything else is going up. And your staff wants a raise. And your rent is going up 5% every year. And, you know, your malpractice is going up. And then your fee structure is going down. You know, when there's a third party, it's very hard to grow, I think. I think it's very hard.
I didn't know. That's so interesting that they don't accommodate for inflation. That's...
Oh, my God. I mean, things like, I remember Morgan Stanley and the big banks would have the best insurances. And then this year, it went down 60%.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to have a real business where you increase the price of toxin on me, I pass it on to my consumer. You know, like I want to have, it was a natural progression because of the overlap in the types of procedures I was doing, but it was also me just wanting to have a real business where I could actually have more control.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's impossible to not think about revenue.
I mean, when we were talking about inflation and everything's going up around you and, you know, you can't charge what you like want and then this and then how else are you supposed to make your money?
Yeah, you can't. And it's almost inappropriate. Like I feel like society thinks a doctor should be a charity worker. You know, and I do a lot of things like the girl at the barbecue telling me her husband has fatty liver. I'm helping her and I'm happy to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's still a lot of charity work involved. There's still a lot of things that I do, but you know, with them like cutting you like that, cutting you.
I mean, I think there's a difference too. I'm always like, my number one thing is I want to make sure that I continue, no matter how much money I make, how many businesses I have and how much they grow, that I'm putting effort into giving back to my community, giving back to people in general. And in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, I was so concerned about, and I think this is a thing that women struggle with too, is like, do I deserve to make this much? You know, and how much do I have to get? Like, you know, my thought process was, you know, how much can I give so I don't feel bad for what I'm receiving? And once I got past that mindset, you know, it became more enjoyable to give.
Yeah, you're right. Because you don't feel like you're being forced.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're being choked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot about that for me. You know, but really it's almost like, again, like I feel like it's every other field it's appropriate to talk about money, but with medical it's very difficult. But with cosmetics, it's not difficult at all.
No, it's not
at all.
That's so true.
There's no argument.
Oh my gosh.
There's no argument. I can't tell you how many people argue with us on a copay, on a deductible. By the way, if we don't charge patients, we get audits.
Oh my gosh.
We get audits for not charging them.
I didn't even put, like, think about that. Like, it's your health and people argue, but
yeah,
you take out the wrinkles of my face. I don't care how much you charge me.
I still remember when I first opened Filled Studio, because with medical, I'd see them go out and then they would be just really just attacking my front desk because they would tell them what they had to pay.
Mm.
And I would sit in the back and I would look and I'm like, because my front desk doesn't know what to do. They're like, this is what you have to pay. And then when someone starts attacking them, they're like, Dr. Jafaar, what do I do? So I would sit in the back and I would watch patients go to the front and argue with my front desk and almost verbally harass them.
Oh my goodness.
And I would intervene and I would do everything I could, you know. When I opened Filled Studio, I would sit and watch and they'd be like, this is the price. And they'd be like, here, and walk out. I'm like, Oh my God. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, they didn't harass her. They didn't argue with her.
They're happy to.
Some people were like, why is your price so low? Is it a good treatment?
Yes. Yep.
And I have to be honest, like, I love that we don't get harassed. Like, some of my front desk, they're like, literally, like, this patient harassed me. It's like, it's really, really hard. And even a lot of times we tell them you have to pay your deductible, because I used to never charge deductibles. All my friends started getting audits.
Wow.
And I'm like, I have to start charging deductibles. And then when I started charging deductibles, oh my God, people went crazy. I couldn't even believe it. It was nuts to me.
It's what their insurance is.
But their insurance confuses them.
Oh.
And then they'll leave, and then the next day their insurance will call, why did so-and-so get charged this? They actually should have been charged more. But they don't see that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very bothersome. It's very bothersome. I don't like it.
Do you see yourself ever switching completely over, or do you like the balance that you've created?
I think I will always keep both. But what I'm going to be is more selective. If I feel like someone's not cooperating with the proper way, then I'm just going to be like, I'm sorry, we can't help you. That's what I see myself doing.
Yeah.
Patience.
Sometimes we have to do that in the salon even.
It's the same thing for you. Like, think about it. Like, you're a hairdresser, right? Your blowout is different from someone else's blowout.
Yep.
You might be giving your client a lot more than someone else. And you want to feel like they're deserving of your time,
absolutely
your talent.
Yeah. And like you said, if you don't want to pay that, or if you feel like somebody else can do better, then it's just not a good fit. And that's okay. I feel like some people get so hurt by something that, like, we're like not being a good fit for each other. Like, if you come into my salon and you want a blowout that is pin straight, that's not how I do my blowouts. I don't like to. I can do my best, but it's not what I specialize in. I like doing voluminous blowouts. I like giving, flips and volume and all these things. So I can do my best, like I said, but maybe I won't do as good as somebody who enjoys doing that or specializes in that. And that's okay. To not, be 100% happy with what I'm providing you, that just means go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it becomes this like,
I like it when they go somewhere else.
Yeah, me too.
Because then they learn that what they were getting with us
was great.
Was the best ever. Like, whether,
It's so true. It's so true. How many clients have left and then come back?
Yeah, I'm like, get a second opinion. I always say, get a second opinion. They're like, oh, I don't want to. I'm like, why don't you want to do that? I had my own health issues where I went from writing a will to, like, there's a lot of variation in medicine.
I did. Okay.
Medicine is not buying French fries at McDonald's.
Can we rewind?
Yeah,
I didn't know
I'm happy
this.
to share with you.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
To make a very long story short, I was the healthiest person alive. Like, I don't smoke. I barely drink. I don't even stay up late. I don't even go in the sun. Like, I don't even, like, go, like, literally people make fun of me. They're like, you went on vacation, you came back more white. Like I don't even, I'm afraid of, like, UV rays. Like, I sleep 8 hours a day. Anyways, I used to work out like crazy. I was running on the treadmill and I was stressed out because it was when I was first starting to open Field Studio. It was stressful. I was super out of my comfort zone. I was flying on the treadmill, like 9 miles per hour. And I guess I collapsed, and the girl there found me. She said, your eyes were open, you were unresponsive.
Oh my gosh.
And I woke up and I was like, there was like a pool of blood, and I was like, who's bleeding? Whose blood is this?
Oh my gosh.
What's going on? Like, completely died and came back. She's like, your eyes were open, you were unresponsive. I was like, what are you talking about? I was just running on the treadmill. And they're like, and the police were there. I was like, what are the police doing here? She ran out onto the street and grabbed the police. Like, she thought I was dead.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The treadmill had burned me like this. I was completely burned like this. My head was bleeding. And I was like, I'm just dehydrated. I'm like, I just need some water.
That's it.
Anyways, I went to stand up. I couldn't stand up. So I was like, maybe I'll go with these guys. To make a long story short, they're like, you have like a sarcoma in your heart. Like that's it. It's done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's no treatment really for it. You can remove it, but it doesn't matter. And then I was like, no, there's no way. I'm the healthiest person alive. To make another long story short, I got multiple opinions. I trained in Cleveland. So they do the most cardiac surgeries in the whole country. And I was like, I need a second opinion at Cleveland Clinic. So they're like, you can't leave the hospital. I'm like, no, I'm leaving the hospital. I'm fine. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with me. I was like, you see me now. They're like, the only way you can leave is with a plane and 2 nurses that could intubate you in case you like die again. It was super dramatic. Oh my goodness. Anyways, I went to Cleveland Clinic with the plane, with the people ready to intubate me. They took out this mass that was on my heart, and my surgeon was like, it's benign. It's benign. I know it's benign, but we have to wait for the final path report. Mm-hmm. Super painful, very hard recovery, waiting for this path report to know if it's benign or cancerous.
Yeah.
The path, and my surgeon kept telling me, clinically, it was benign. And when the path report came out, it said it was cancerous. And I was like, wait, you told me it was benign. And he just didn't even have an answer for me. I'm like, I went to the best surgeon in the best cardiac place in the world. And he was just like, cardiac tumors are rare. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, what?
He's like, they're just rare. I was like, okay, so what's the plan? Like, he was like, we're just going to recheck in 3 months. We're just going to recheck again in 3 months. If it came back, then I'll take it out again. I was like, I haven't even recovered yet. What do you mean?
Yeah,
you do this again? He's like, yeah, no answers. I was like, you know what? I am getting a second opinion. Because I also trained at, in Upper East Side at Sloan Kettering.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm going for my own second opinion. Like, I don't trust anything they're saying. I went to Sloan Kettering, and the doctor told me there's specific sarcoma pathologists. There's only 2 in the world, and they're here at Sloan Kettering.
Wow.
Because they had given me basically a death diagnosis. Because if it was cancerous, what are you going to do? Remove someone's whole heart?
Yeah.
Like, and then wait for a heart transplant? Yeah. You can't. And, I was selling my house. I was trying to rent out Filled Studio because I'm like, I can't open it in a new business now. And so he's like, we're going to bring your tumor from Cleveland. We're going to bring your tumor from Cleveland and evaluate it ourselves. They brought it and they told me it's completely benign.
No, shut up.
Completely benign.
What?
Even I was shocked. I'm a medical doctor. And I was like, wow. Like, the variation in medicine is wide. People think doctor. That's it. No, they think it's like a cookie cutter. Like, the doctor drew my labs. The doctor did an x-ray. There's a huge variety in medicine. There's a lot of areas in medicine that are gray. Completely gray. Like, look, flew to Cleveland Clinic where kings from Saudi Arabia go to Cleveland Clinic. The whole world goes there. It's like, I went to the best place. They still didn't know what to do. There was still a gray zone. Mm-hmm. I took my life into my own hands and went and got they didn't tell me get a second opinion. They didn't tell me we don't have a sarcoma pathologist. They didn't tell me that there's a variation. They didn't tell me, it was just me and my instincts.
I can't even imagine too, like, this is so important for people to know because they just take it for what it is so many times when a doctor says something. And so many times when I hear somebody doesn't take it, a doctor says a diagnosis and they're like, I don't know.
I think it's okay to say no. That. Like, and I think it's okay to say no. It's okay to get a second opinion. It's like, I tell my patients, get a second opinion. Mm-hmm. I'm not offended at all. Like, yeah, you're going to help me do my job.
Yeah. And like you said earlier too, like no one knows everything.
No, it's impossible, especially medical.
Mm-hmm.
But that takes me back to the business aspect. I really look at what I'm giving these people as a superior doctor experience.
Yeah.
Because of who I am, because of growing up with moms, because of the way that my mind works, because of my own experiences, because of the places that I've trained, because of the people that I've met, because I'm an immigrant. You know, I really feel I'm just giving a superior service to than everyone else.
I agree. I agree. And without all of those lessons and life experiences from your past, you wouldn't be you.
Exactly. And I wouldn't be able to give this gift.
Yeah. You know, when you can figure out how to use your pain and turn it into good, that is the true meaning of life and happiness, is being able to utilize your pain and create beauty out of it. And I really believe that's what you're doing.
I love that.
And I love it
and
so
I'm a pain
much.
doctor.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, it was so nice to speak with you today. And I thank you so much she came from New York to Jersey just to be here with us today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. And I can't wait for our party in December.
Yes. So lovely being here.
Thanks, guys. So if you know anybody who can benefit from this podcast, if you know somebody who is looking for a new pain doctor or injector, follow us, share this, do all the things you know what to do, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here with me today. It's always appreciated if you would like, share, or drop a comment about what you think. And of course, remember to do what the fuck you want because you deserve it. See you next time. As always, sending love and positive vibes.